Hello everyone, Silent here, and welcome back to another episode of Bug Rock of the Week. Today we're going to be covering the newest 1.17 beta for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Today's beta is 1.17.054, and there isn't anything too massive in this beta. This is another instance of Mojang just kind of tweaking and changing a bunch of different things, and it's all rather small stuff, but it is good to stay up to date on everything that is changing. That way you know what to expect when the updates release. So let's hop into it. The first bug fix of today's beta is a very exciting one because this means that we're going to have even easier beacon factories in the Caves and Cliffs update. So skeletons will now actually convert into strays after being inside of the powdered snow for 45 seconds. As you can see, this guy just transformed. It's a very slow conversion, but now we have a stray. So if you find yourself a skeleton spawner in your world, you can drop those guys through a few layers of powdered snow. They'll eventually convert, and then we can blow them up with a charge creeper in order to get wither skeleton skulls. Don't tell anyone that they drop wither skulls. That is your and my little secret. So that is now a thing that we can do in the new update for super small, super simple beacon factories. I'm very happy about this. We have a fairly big change to cave generation in your world. So you may have noticed in the previous betas and snapshots, it was kind of really easy to find strongholds in your world, but now they'll generate a little bit more sneakily, and they won't be as exposed in your cave systems. So previously you might have seen like a whole section of your stronghold generated out in the open, making it really easy to find it. Poking around the area a little bit more, as you can see, we do have one of the rooms of the stronghold that is actually exposed in the cave system, but this is still not really like that much. The strongholds have always had usually like one or two little rooms that poke into cave systems. I think previously in these betas it was like entire massive sections. We got a couple of small changes to the Axolotls. These guys will no longer be able to move around on their own when they're playing dead. Previously they could pathfind and stuff still, but of course you can still nudge them when they are playing dead. Furthermore, they will no longer play dead when they are on land. So if we just do this guy a little bit of damage, he's going to get down to very low health, and normally they would start playing dead around this point, but as you can see, he's still pathfinding towards water. So some small changes to keep in mind when playing with Axolotls. Oh, and of course, they need to play dead in order to regenerate their health. As you can see here, this guy now got regeneration particles. So basically, they need to be in water in order to regain health and basically live forever. We got a small update to the Azalea tree. Now, whenever you harvest the Azalea leaves or the flowering Azalea leaves with a Silk Touch tool, they will actually drop themselves. So now these things are acquirable in survival. And surprisingly, no matter what you harvest them with, they all go into the same stack. They don't separate into different stacks. And even if you place them on the ground and harvest them with multiple different tools, they still don't split up into multiple different stacks. This has been a recurring bug on Bedrock Edition for like eons, but it doesn't appear to be happening anymore. Very good to see. Now, unfortunately, the Azalea and flowering Azalea still cannot be grown on moss blocks. As you can see, they still do not grow, which again prevents us from having fully AFK playerless tree farms. We have some updates and bug fixes to the powdered snow. First of all, dispensers can now place powdered snow, as you can see here, so that is a little bit convenient and has a variety of uses in technical contraptions. There's currently a bug on Bedrock Edition where the dispensers can't pick the powdered snow back up, so as you can see, this dispenser of a bucket cannot pick it up at all. It just shoots the bucket into the powdered snow. Now, if we head over to Java Edition for just a moment, you can see that we have the exact same setup over here. Powdered snow inside of a dispenser. We can place it, and then we can also retract it as well. Mojang has fixed this bug where you can get scaffolding just kind of sitting on top of a powdered snow. Now, previously how you would do this is you would have to build it up to the side and then get the scaffolding above a powdered snow like this, and then simply remove these supports. But as you can see, if you do this now, the scaffolding above the powdered snow simply pops off like it should. These ones over here have not updated yet, and that is kind of fun. So if you have this built in your world, you can keep these around forever and have these as kind of like a little memento to the bugs of the Bedrock Edition betas. And one more update with the powdered snow. Previously, you could stop yourself from falling into it and freezing simply by holding jump, and that would take you out of the powdered snow and keep you from dying, more or less. But as you can see, if you hold jump now, it doesn't really do anything. You still freeze, and it's not a healthy thing. So make sure you wear your leather boots. The They've also updated the textures for the raw gold, copper, and iron as well, as you can see here. I don't exactly remember what they looked like in the last beta, but I know that they have changed. Something about them is different. Now, we also have a change to copper blocks. These have been changed to be more like the iron and gold blocks. So each of the blocks of copper now requires 9 copper ingots to be crafted. And then, of course, when you uncraft that, you get 9 copper ingots back from it. So just like iron and gold, originally, before they introduced the raw ores and the massive ore veins on Java Edition, this change would have made it really, really difficult to build out a copper. But now, getting copper and gold and iron is not going to be a problem at all, so I don't think that this change is really like a bad thing. In fact, it's actually a good thing because now everything is more consistent. And we got 2 more texture changes for the clock and the compass as well. These are actually significantly different looking. They are a lot more saturated, especially the clock. You can see it's got a lot more brighter and more contrasty colors going on with it. And if we switch it to midnight, then of course you can see that that is what the backside of the clock looks like with the moon. We also got a new terrible block in this beta, and that is the Infested deep slate. Basically just like regular cobblestone or stone that's been infested with silverfish, and we can now find this in the world, generating in the extreme hills biomes down near the bottom of the world where we get the deep slate blobs. Now this is just like a regular silverfish block, so if you break it without soak touch you'll get silverfish. If you break it with soak touch, then you'll just get a regular version of the block that is not infested. And I saw somewhere on Twitter from one of the devs that they are not supposed to be instant mineable. I have no idea where that tweet went or who it was from, but if I happen to find it, I'll put it up on screen. So don't expect these things to be permanently instant mineable, but they happen to be instant mineable in the current betas and snapshots. We got 2 really cool and unique sounds in this beta. When the squids or glow squids emit ink, they actually make an amazing sound. So there is the squid, and then the glow squid is a little bit more high pitch. Very cool looking. And also you'll notice that whenever the glow squid takes damage, it actually turns off its glow and goes very dark, which is a pretty cool little feature, honestly. If you saw the last beta video, then you'll know that they broke biomes, and this is just a confirmation that they really did break biomes. Something somewhere is broken, because this part of the world is absolutely not a cold biome. I've been playing in this world for years. I think I would notice if I had ice forming, but suddenly, there is an iceberg forming out of nowhere. Speaking of the glow squid, these guys have a bug in the beta. They currently do not despawn, so I just killed everything in the world, and this world is on a simulation distance of 4. So if we travel 44 blocks away from that guy, he should instantly despawn. Please note that we have zombies over there. We're gonna fly all the way over here into this corner, and then wait ourselves a second, and then go ahead and fly back over there. You'll notice that these zombies are now gone, and we still got our glow squid over here. So these guys need to be able to despawn. It took us a couple years to convince Mojang that despawning is important, but now we know, and they know, despawning is important. So bug report link for this and everything else I talk about in today's episode is down in the description. We have a slight change to how these spore blossoms function in the betas, so if they get flowed onto by water, they will now pop off as an item. They can no longer be underwater or be waterlogged or anything. However, we also kind of have a new bug with them. If you put a water bucket onto a spore blossom, it just gets entirely deleted. It doesn't pop off as an item. I would think that it should pop off as an item, similar to how a torch would function if you placed a water bucket on that. We have another change to the stalactites, so the ones that are filling up a cauldron will now drip just a little bit faster than ones that aren't filling up cauldrons, and this should make it a little bit less tedious to get water from them. We have some small updates to the piglins. These guys will now pick up and admire the raw gold, the blocks of raw gold, and of course they'll also admire the deep slate gold ore too. This is different from piglin trading. As you can see, they just pick it up and look at it. They don't trade anything. If you want to trade with them, you still need to use a regular gold ingot, but now they pick it up and admire it, which is really kind of cool. Ah, yes, my nether portal has now put me at Y65, where it should. Yeah, so it literally just put me where the nether portal is, but down like really, really far. A really, really big bug has been fixed with the command block Minecart. This is something that you've probably never used. I've literally never even held one until literally right now, so I don't know why this one doesn't allow me to change settings. Anyway, so these things used to be able to execute and run commands even while command blocks were turned off in your world, but that is no longer possible on servers that have command blocks turned off. So overall, a really, really good thing, and I'm glad that this has finally been fixed. So I had to cut out a bunch of the video because this is used for a lot of bad things, and we've been trying to keep this undercover for a while, and I just realized this isn't fixed until 1.17 comes out, so possible like many months, and Mojang just made it very obvious that this bug is still in like the current versions, and yeah. So moving quickly along, we've had a couple of updates to the goats as well. Apparently they added screaming goats to Bedrock Edition. I never saw that in any of the changelogs. However, you have a very small chance of finding a screaming goat naturally spawned in your world, and they have some pretty hilarious noises. Yeah, how could you not laugh at that? It's just terrible. Yeah, that's part of Minecraft now. Thank you, Minecraft Wiki, for supplying the goat sounds. So when you breed a screaming goat with a regular goat, you have a very good chance of getting a new screaming goat. So yes, you can make an army of screaming goats, and yes, you can leave them everywhere in the server, and yes, you can listen to this one more time. And we have a couple of updates from the previous beta as well that I didn't have time to mention. So the dripstones are now fully renewable, and you can actually farm these things pretty easily. Yay, more farms. So these things require a couple of specific things to happen before they can grow. First of all, you need a stalactite hanging from the ceiling on a dripstone block, and there has to be a water source above that block. It can't be flowing water, so like that right there would not work. You need a full water source, and these things grow incredibly slowly, as they should. It can take several Minecraft days for them to grow even a single time, but that is perfectly fine. It is based on the random tick speed, so if you increase your random tick speed to like 1,000, for example, then you can see them actually grow much, much faster. Now, of course, these things are incredibly easy to automate. You can use pistons to simply, you know, break the dripstones just like that, or what you would do on a very large scale is treat it just like the bamboo and sugarcane farms and run a flying machine directly across the bottom of the floor with a glazed terracotta floor, and then you would simply run another flying machine at this layer here to harvest all of these ones. That way you don't ruin your cedar dripstones. So pretty straightforward and simple to farm. In general, this is going to be the slowest farm in Minecraft history, however. So keep in mind, this entire process has to happen with a dry area. If there's any water in either of these stalagmites or tights or in between them, then this process entirely breaks. So for example, if the stalactite is within a water source, it's not going to drip, and therefore it won't grow, or grow one from below. And if the one on the bottom is inside of water, then it won't grow either because it won't be receiving drips. And also, if both of those are dry, but there is a water source in the middle of the two, then they still won't grow. And of course, the dripstones will never grow into a fluid either, simply because that's not really possible. And there's two other cool things that you can do with dripstone as well. So normally if you just place the dripstone, they will combine their tips together. However, if you hold shift and then place it, then they won't connect together, as you can see there. So that gives you a lot more decoration options. And then also if you throw a trident at a dripstone, it'll actually break it, as you can see there. Poor chicken. I did not intend for that, but it happened. We now have 3 new specific damage sounds for the player. One for drowning, one for fire, and one for freezing. So overall, a smaller polished beta, but as you can see, even these small polished betas bring us a lot of interesting features, fixes, and refinements to the game. Overall, I'm absolutely loving these betas, and hopefully you are as well. Of course, let me know what your thoughts about them are down in the comment section down below, and otherwise, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. It helps out the video and the channel a ton. If you're new here, then consider subscribing so that you don't miss future episodes, and otherwise, I'll see you guys down in the comment section and in the next one. And then there was silence.